Let's see if I did it right this time. Hello and welcome to the bi-weekly IoTeXperts live stream brought to you by the folks at IoTeX. My name is Robert Wolf, and I'll be your host today and every 2 weeks as we dive deeper and take a deeper look at the IoTeX developer ecosystem and explore the many things going on in and around this exciting space. This week is a little different. I am very lucky to be joined by a co-host from the IoTeX community, Giuseppe DeLuca. Now, we'll bring him on in just a second. We'll do some introductions, but I want to remind you all that each of these live streams will start with the developer updates, followed by in-depth conversations about IoTeX and our growing developer ecosystem. We are joined by featured experts, and we'll discuss a plethora of topics tailored for developers, showcase opportunities, explore resources, and bring on new and exciting developments to light, all the new and exciting developments to light regarding the stuff that's happening in and around IoTeX. Now, in today's episode, as I mentioned, it's a little unique because not only do we have a co-host who I'm going to bring on in just a minute, but we're joined by one of the Halo Grant awardees, enviroBLOQ. So we're joined by CEO and founder Will McCann. We're also joined by co-founder and CTO Chuck Cobern. So we bringing them on right now. I think it's actually, let's just bring everyone on now. I'm going to bring it all in here. Now, at the end of this episode, also just to let you all know, as a reminder, we're starting a new segment called Jeremi's Discord segment. So at the end, stick around. All the questions that have been asked throughout the last couple of weeks, Discord Jeremi has brought them all together, and we'll be showcasing them at the end and doing a little walkthrough. All right, welcome everyone. How you doing? Will, Chuck, Giuseppe, how's everything going?
Well, very happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Excellent.
Nice. Thanks for being here, guys.
Awesome. So let's start off with a quick round of introductions, or as I like to call it, the origin stories. I'm going to start off with our co-host, Giuseppe, star of the day here. So Giuseppe, tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Well, thanks for the intro, Robert. Yeah, I'm super happy to be here. I'm Giuseppe. I'm working for IoTeX. I'm part of the Dev Champions team, and I take care of developer content and marketing. I have a background in communication, and I then fell in love with blockchain not too many years ago, like you. So I'm a little bit of a newbie. It's only been about 3 years, and I'm really enjoying the space. And I didn't think that the perfect job would exist until I came to find IoTeX, and super happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Giuseppe. Now let's go with you, Will.
My pleasure.
Will, some of y'all know me around the ecosystem of IoTeX as IoTexan. That's my other screen in there for Twitter, but born and raised outside of Austin, Texas. I went to school in Philadelphia at Villanova University, studied mechanical engineering, minored in engineering entrepreneurship, which is where I first kind of got the entrepreneurial bug in me, but graduated from Villanova, got into oil and gas, worked all over North America for about 5 years, but knew I wanted to get back to the Austin area eventually. So in doing so, I got hooked up with a roofing company to get back to the Austin area back home. And, I didn't know what it was going to be, if it was going to be a 6-month gig or what, just to transition back. But, here I am still with them. That's my day job still currently. But 7 years later, and being in attics almost every day and studying ventilation is what kind of led to enviroBLOQ. But what originally led me to IoTeX was this past November, out of FOMO. I still didn't know what crypto was. I still didn't know what blockchain was, but I knew that I wanted to kind of dive into it. It was becoming more and more popular. I had several friends in it, but you're starting to hear like big names, big banks start talking about crypto and blockchain and everything. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I have to figure it out. I have to get in it because I don't want to miss out on it. And so, studying different projects, just kind of diving as deep as I could, learn as much as I could. IoTeX was one that always kind of stood out to me as an investor or potential investor, because it was very clear that a lot of these other projects were, just writing hype articles, trying to pump and dump investors all day, so, and it was, IoTeX was kind of the exact opposite. They were quietly building, physical products. When I first got in, as soon as I started investing in IoTeX, I bought a Pebble tracker and I bought a UCam because I like, this is so cool. They actually have physical devices already hooked up to this blockchain, that you can touch and feel, where most projects in the space were just a white paper, right? So that's what originally led me to IoTeX. we had the Pebble tracker, and I'm seeing the Halo grant going on. And about that time, the MachineFi deal got released. I'm like, I have to think of a way to kind of combine this Pebble tracker and this technology with something that I'm already involved in. And then it kind of clicked with the attic space, and traditionally an attic space is a dead, wasted space that nobody's focused on, nobody's studying. But from a roofing professional standpoint, your ventilation is a big deal in your attic space because that affects your cooling costs in your house. So, one of our big sales in the roofing industry was always your ventilation. So it was kind of a light bulb moment where I was like, I'm gonna stick a Pebble tracker in the attic and just start reading this data, and having I have 2 solar attic vents in my house right now. So it was kind of a perfect case study, which we'll get into in a minute, that led into enviroBLOQ and kind of utilizing this technology to then lead into applying for the MachineFi Halo grant.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, what a story, right? And you still have your day job while you're running a startup here. So that's pretty crazy. Me too. It's pretty tough. We'll have to talk offline sometime. Share some tips and tricks to each other.
Very little sleep, right?
Yes, very little sleep. Look at these bags.
That's trick number 1 is very little sleep.
Yes, trick number 1, very little sleep. So Chuck, you're up. Would love to get to know you.
Well, with William, William stays up really late at night, and I'm not up late at night, but I'm an early morning guy. So, we've got the whole day covered with him doing his thing. But I've been in the space, I've been in technology for a long time, and went through the process of, being an IT manager at a couple of different companies, and started my own business in 2000, and right at the .com bust and everything. And managed to survive that and stuff. And so just managed to sell that and move off. And now looking to be more of a contributor in this Web3 space. And William and I have known each other for a long time. And, he's got an entrepreneur mindset thinking. And so it was real easy to jump in on this with him and get involved and help, with the experience I have and stuff to pull something together, and keep this going. So it's exciting.
Awesome. The power team, right. Chuck and Will. So real quick, I just want to remind everyone here, if you are enjoying this video and you do enjoy this video, make sure you smash that like button. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe to the IoTeX channel on YouTube because we do this every 2 weeks. There's also lots of other cool content that comes out. So we'll be here for the rest of the hour. But of course, if you want to keep in tune with everything that's happening, make sure you subscribe. One other thing I'd like to say, and this is a bit of a disclaimer, we are interviewing the folks from enviroBLOQ, but I do have to say that this is not a sponsored video, and this is not an endorsement from IoTeX. We are just trying to get to know these cool people and the cool stuff that they're building on the IoTeX blockchain. So for everyone out there, make sure you go check out the enviroBLOQ website. And I'm actually going to pull this up right now. And I'm sure it'll be mentioned several times throughout this call, but enviroBLOQ, that's with a Q instead of a CK, .io. You can go check that out and learn as much as possible about enviroBLOQ as they build out this awesome product in this amazing IoTeX ecosystem. All right. So I kind of told you all in the green room before we started here that we were going to do a quick developer update, and then we're going to dive right into learning as much as possible about enviroBLOQ. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Giuseppe real quick. And Giuseppe, take it away.
Yeah, I'll just steal the floor for basically less than a minute. All I wanted to say for our developers out there is that we have a new release, the version of the 1.8.2 core release that is out there, is available. Naturally, delegates are encouraged to upgrade, but they really don't have to, as version 1.8.0 and 1.8.1 are still working, so that's totally fine. If you'd like to know more, there is a link that I shared on Twitter on basically the full walkthrough of what the upgrades are, but we're definitely doing enhanced P2P network robustness and a lot of API improvements and a lot of cool stuff that's out there for our developers. So I'd like to know what you guys think about it, and feel free to share, feel free to check out our Twitter, which is IoTeX_dev. And be part of the community. I mean, we're doing some cool stuff, and I'd love to have you on board.
Yes, that's IoTeX_dev, and I'm going to post that in the chat here real quick. As well, we should also probably post the enviroBLOQ Twitter in just a moment as well. See if anyone wants to go follow you there. So, Will, Chuck, you are here to talk to us about enviroBLOQ. I think that the first question, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, Will, at the very beginning regarding attics and your history working in roofing, but let's hear, what's the spiel? What's that high level bird's eye view? What is enviroBLOQ?
So enviroBLOQ is the solution for bridging smart homes to the blockchain. And we're going to do that starting with the Pebble tracker in the attic space as a proof of concept. We're ultimately, our ultimate drive is environmental concern, energy consumption, energy savings, kind of that green driver, but in a Web3 model where we're rewarding users for their provided data that we can then analyze, package, and then sell to third-party off-takers, consumers for utilization, whether that be home builders that are interested in the efficiency of their building designs, whether it's like a ventilation manufacturers that want to improve the efficiency of their products or manufacturing, utility providers that want to kind of get readings on live utility consumption within region. And then ultimately you as the property owner are able to know in real time and historically how efficient your property is. As you're owning it, and then as you go to sell, or if you're a potential buyer, both residential or commercial.
Sorry for interrupting. I just think this is amazing. It's kind of like, I want to say almost the Carfax history report of homes. So the way I'm thinking here is I actually just recently bought my house, right? About a year and a half ago. And one of the first things I did, and you mentioned in your opening speech, how you said, the attic is dead space. I was like, screw this. I'm making my attic usable space. And so I went up there, I hired a contractor. We bought a bunch of this like really nice plywood. We laid the flooring up there, installed lighting, light sockets, all sorts of cool stuff, moved all like the big insulated ventilation tubes around so that they were hanging from the top instead of the bottom. But the question is, did I do it right? Did I make my home more efficient? And this is something I have. Like I have my central AC unit. I have my central heating. I know that there is leakage. I have my double paned windows. But what did I do? Did I do anything that improved my home from an energy standpoint and or just general what type of stuff is floating around in my attic that I don't know about? Exactly. So I love this. I love this. And this is just based on my own personal experience. I love this. So I can't wait to see my enviroBLOQ Pebble tracker up in my attic so I can start tracking this stuff. I'm sure
testing's coming soon. Yes.
Yeah. Does that story resonate? Like, is this the kind of people you're looking for, right? Like you want people to be, I'm the user, right?
Of course. No, you hit it right on the head. There's multiple potential streams here of usability and revenue for us. The property owner, and then, in industry, largely outside of an R&D facility, you can't trust any kind of data that you're getting from your products because there's so many different variables going on in the real world, or the hardware is hackable or the data is, able to be manipulated. So this kind of opens up the real world data collection sphere for industry to finally be able to trust data that they're receiving in the IoT space for the first time, so that's what we're most excited about.
That's awesome. Robert, Chuck, did you want to chime in there? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, when you think about, there's so much, we're looking so much forward to getting this data to actually go through and say like what you did, what happened, what did you do? Did you improve it? And we don't have that kind of data yet. And it's like, should you get a ventilation roof, solar vent in your house or not? What is it going to really provide to you? And so we're looking to prove a lot of data, a lot of concepts that we think that people just say you need to have and actually show that. So
it could be something as simple as I have sun tubes in my home. You're probably familiar with those, Will, right? Like they go all the way from the top roof, they go through your attic and then into your natural lighting. And so these sun tubes, I would be curious to know if the data changed by installing a sun tube. Like, is there more leakage because of this sun tube going out of my attic? These little small adjustments can really change things, over the course of the life of your home. I really like the idea of selling, with this kind of report that you could provide. It's something that other people can't provide. You're just like, hey, look, this is how efficient my home is, and this is how I've improved its efficiency over the course of its life.
Exactly.
So I do want to get to one question, and then, Giuseppe, can I ask one more, and then I'll let you ask some here?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
So sorry about that.
It's all good.
The last one I want to ask here is reward mechanisms. So what is your reward mechanism for the Pebble tracker and this data? Because usually people are wanting some reward. For
sure, yeah. Short answer is we're still working on fine details, but we're going to start out with IoTeX tokens as physical rewards. And then our goal is once we hit 1,000 data providers, i.e. 1,000 properties, around that time, we want to release the enviroBLOQ token, our own token, backed by IoTeX, but that would kind of allow us to expand the reward mechanism for tokens to our data providers. And then down the line, like I said, we're still working on details of this as we work through, but we want to be able to incentivize people that are either making improvements to their property or already have more efficient spaces, because they're theoretically saving power, saving energy by having those more efficient spaces, right? So that's kind of the full driver. We want to, if you're the homeowner like you, Robert, if you're looking at two things, do I want to fork this extra money to kind of improve the efficiency of my property? If at the end of the day we could be that tokenized driver to push that improvement across the line, that's what we're after, right? And awesome. Then that's your property owner. As you're a prospective buyer, either residential or you're looking at a hotel or an office building or something like that, you again want to know, what are these utilities costing per month, per year? How efficient is this space? And so
that's the big money.
Yeah, big money. Big money.
Yeah.
All right, Giuseppe has a bunch of questions here.
I mean, I'm like itching because I also became a property owner as of this week. So
congratulations!
I knew that we were. Oh, thanks, guys. As soon as I knew we were going to talk to you, I was like, oh my god, I have a million questions that we maybe take on a different call. But I find it really cool that, for example, you're tackling this issue from two sides, right? So one is I'll make my home more efficient, and I can actually monitor how efficient my home is. But on the same time, I can actually monetize on the data that my home is providing. So I really like when I read your white paper. Let's say that you're selling the home, and then you're saying, yeah, I'm selling the home. It became this much more efficient, and at the same time, it's also making me this much amount of money per month. And so I find that to be super cool. I don't know if you have. I mean, you said you're sort of working on the tokenomics, but do you have an idea or maybe like a projection of how much this data could be worth for like a home owner, for example? Do you think you have a figure?
Not yet.
Well, let me
go ahead.
One of the comments is we need more data. We need more data to see what the value of the data, and also see what the data consumers are willing to. We have the providers, the homeowners, but we have the data consumers that we think, what's that value? And so we really need more data. We need more volunteers, more people to get into the mix. We need more data to show what that value is. So it's still a little bit out.
And so there's an article a week or two ago that got released that I forget who wrote it, but it was shared in our ecosystem about that everyone's personal data right now currently is valued at $3,000 per year. I think that's, judging someone's iPhone walking around and just
that's low.
That's low. But for now, that's what they're talking about, and it's going to grow as everything grows in this whole data collection world and the machine economy as that grows. But we're starting out proving the concept of rewarding people for their data, and then packaging that in an attractive way to a consumer that is willing to purchase that data. So
I find that unbelievable. If, for example, you could say like my house is paying for a third of its mortgage by itself. It would be like insane.
And even if it's whatever it is, $10 a month or $50 a year or whatever it is that you can apply toward, your utility bills or whatever it is. That's something that you didn't have before, so.
Exactly.
So real quick, I want to address something here because we have a question in the chat, but it also kind of applies to something Chuck just said regarding the collection of data. You guys don't have enough data. So wrong again, one of our community regulars, he asks, how does enviroBLOQ envision distribution of the product? And I think that the distribution of the product would thus create or generate more data for you all. So, what are your steps towards getting this out into the hands of the people? When can I put an enviroBLOQ in my attic?
Well, one of the things, one of the initiatives is actually going after home builders to actually get them early into new homes and new subdivisions in that area. That's one of our push to actually get in. Because one thing that's nice is if, like Robert, if your house is in a neighborhood and there's multiple houses in that neighborhood that are just like yours, it'd be great to know what you did to yours compared to somebody who didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that's one of our first approach.
Yeah, and we're again, the Pebble Tracker is the proof of concept device. It's already connected to the blockchain. It's already a trusted hardware, tamper-proof. With the coming web stream, and I think it's Q4 at the end of this year. Giuseppe, you probably can give me more of that or give more update on that. But that's going to really open up a lot of hardware additions as well, too, with this kind of web stream data analytics going on. So ideally, you don't want a Pebble Tracker for every sensor collection point because it's too expensive at $250 a pop, right? But we also don't need everything encased in a Pebble Tracker for collecting temperature at different points either. So we're using it as a proof of concept that's already plug and play ready. There's already 2,000 or so people around the world that have Pebble Trackers that are just waiting to do something with it, like Chuck and I were. That's going to be the proof of concept in the entry. But where we're really going is, like Chuck mentioned, it's being part of, if it's a home builder, being part of the smart home data or smart home hardware that goes into with your smart thermostat and everything already is their package, right? And then you as the new homeowner can either opt in to the enviroBLOQ data rewards and data collection service, or you don't have to, right? That's kind of left up to you. But we think we're going to have more success, especially early on, partnering with someone that sees the value of potentially providing hardware up front, or allowing us to provide our hardware up front in a large unit setting versus going door to door and trying to convince people to put these in their attic, right? And again, it's going to move from the Pebble Tracker. That's just the proof of concept to kind of prove the whole Web3 and data exchange model. But we want to tap into the Google Nest. We want to get solar generation data. We want to know your utility, your water consumption, and those type of things. So your irrigation system, there's so many things. And, preparing for this meeting today, I'm going off of Wi-Fi right now. And one thing that I would like to do is have an antenna in my house to know what kind of reception am I getting, just cellular, right? I think that could even be valuable to someone looking at a house like, oh, I love that house, but it gets no cell service, So there's all these things that we can kind of tie into the smart home picture, but we're starting with the Pebble Tracker device that's already plug and play ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And yeah, I think, we recently shared some web stream updates, and I think there's going to be some very interesting surprises from now until the end of this year. And obviously next year, there's going to be a lot more. And it's going to be a lot, adding complexity as we go along. So that's really cool. I mean, at the end of the day, the cool stuff that you guys are doing, it's basically, you're building a MachineFi product, and that's really what we're trying to, what we're trying to provide for people like you, and people that have cool ideas and that they want to do something interesting. Well, there are a lot of questions here. I mean, I see another question from one wrong again that says, how can I use, if I can use my tracker for this? I guess, you guys could answer that, and then I wanted to ask a couple of questions maybe after that.
For sure, yeah. So right now we're doing our 30, or I think we're day 4 of our 30-day case study. Is kind of our first little experiment. I've got one in my attic in my house with the new roof, the 2 solar vents, and then 4 houses down is the identical. You know, these neighborhoods are cookie cutter, so it's the identical model, identical layout, and they still have the original roof, so they don't have the ventilation upgrade. So it was being the engineer and kind of being that experimenter mindset. I wanted to remove as many variables as possible in this case study to really dive into an apples to apples comparison to prove what we're doing, right? So we're starting with that, and then we are going to open it up to beta testing, where we're going to invite current Pebble Tracker owners to get involved with us and get hooked up with us. We're still working on tying that in, but we'll be making an announcement when we're ready for that, because I know there's, like I said, 2,000 people around the world with Pebble Trackers waiting to hook them up. The biggest thing for us,
I'd be really interested in doing so. So for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Well, hey, Wrong again. We'll reach out to you. I have to reach out to you, and we can get you in early.
Yes,
if you're really interested into it.
There's a few of
Wait,
you.
what about me?
Yes, you too.
And me.
There's a few people already reaching out. Yeah, no, and like I said, like us, we bought these Pebble Trackers. There's been some dApps or applications that have, some have come and gone, some are still out there as far as utilizing this Pebble Tracker technology of kind of as a proof of concept. But I think most, if not all, that have come out or have been thought of and pitched already are more geared toward the Meta Pebble and not the Pebble Tracker, because it's more tied to your phone that's going to move around all the time. So, right. So, again, with us, you're not going to leave your phone in your attic all day. And you're also not going to probably carry your Pebble Tracker around with you all day. So it was kind of a perfect application to, in our mind, the Pebble Tracker is best fit being fixed right now, whether it's fixed to a vehicle or fixed to a property.
So, Will, real quick, Chuck, Giuseppe, I just want to kind of clarify some stuff here, because it became aware to me that there may be people on the call or on watching that don't really understand how data can actually be owned by the individual and thus monetized. And so real quickly, I just want to give a really high level view, and maybe Giuseppe, you can, dive a little deeper into this, and I don't want to spend too much time, but basically in the crypto space or in the blockchain space, when you have your cryptocurrency, it's stored in a private key, or you are securing the access to these particular assets behind a private key. As private key is a 64 digit string of letters and numbers, and it secures all of your cryptocurrency on that particular chain. Now, what we're talking about here is using this same philosophy or this same technology to take data of any kind, encrypt it with this private key, and then store it somewhere, right? So now usually companies that are doing this kind of stuff, you still have to store your data somewhere. You're not storing it on the blockchain or anything like that. You're storing it on a server, you're storing it on the cloud, but it's encrypted by you and thus owned by you, meaning that even the people who own the server can't access this data without your permission granted by your private key. Right. So this is kind of like a little different, whereas, when you talk about Google and the Google Nest and the Google Home and all this kind of stuff, when that data goes into your Google Home camera, you're just checking a box and saying, I trust Google. Right. Mm-hmm. Whereas now the difference here is you're instead of saying checking a box, I trust Google, you're saying, this is my private key. Only I own this private key. No one can see it. Any data that goes into this camera is encrypted by my private key and then stored. And if I want this particular entity to have access to this data, then I'll sign a transaction with my private key granting them access. And this now in turn allows you to monetize data, because Google monetizes your data whether you like it or not. When you're talking into your Google speaker, all this kind of stuff, you can say, okay, well, I'm only going to give you access to my data if you pay me something. And so this is bringing the power back to the user. I hope I explained that quick enough. Maybe someone else can.
Yeah, that was quick, to the point, and very efficient. And that was very clear. And if actually, for anybody that would like to know more, we do have a whole data marketplace implemented on our developers.iotex.io website, and you can actually have a look at it. And we explain this in a little bit more detail. Yes, granted, it's a little bit more developers oriented, but it's definitely an interesting read, even if you don't want to look at the code and stuff like that, just to have an overview of how such thing could be possible.
And if you aren't on our Discord server yet, go join the Discord server too, because you can talk to Giuseppe, myself, Discord, Jeremi, who's going to be joining us in just a minute. Lots of information you get there. Cool.
I was sorry. I was just going to add back to that on the, the cool thing and the most attractive thing to this Web3 model about empowering users back with their data. It's you were hearing a lot. Robert just talked on the Google and all these apps that you can't even use it unless you're agreeing to just give away all your data. Go read an article about TikTok. So what the Web3 model does, there's products out there like that are doing move to earn or health blocks, right? There's different stuff, but you're essentially providing your data in exchange for a token reward, something that can be exchanged for financial incentive. And the whole reason that that's even valuable is because that company that's utilizing that data, they're doing something valuable with it. They're improving a product, they're improving their company operating somehow. Data is the new gold, is the new oil. It is what is generating and optimizing everything around us all the time, which is what MachineFi is all about. MachineFi has that vision of eventually, autonomous vehicles, drones, manufacturing is all going to be done by machines, and it's all going to be optimized by our data. And so MachineFi was that kind of initiative to reward people back for that data to be provided in the first place. And for companies like us, that Web3 tokenomics and reward system kind of drives the mass organic adoption to the space anyway. Even if you're not in the blockchain space yet, you understand or starting to understand or hear more and more about your data being utilized without your consent. So this kind of returns the power to the user.
Yeah, it kind of brings me to the next thing that I wanted to ask, which is I noticed that as soon as you said you were going to do like a beta testing with the current Pebble owners, and then, Robert wanted to jump in, I wanted to jump in, Rong again wanted to jump in. So let's maybe just look at a little timeline if you guys feel like it, right? So you just been awarded, our Halo grant, so that hopefully kickstarts your project. And then, what's happening in the immediate future? How would you maybe let all these Pebble owners know and invite them to the beta versus like what's going to happen in the next, few years, maybe 5 to 7, like Robert likes to say.
No, 1 to 2, then 5 to 7.
1 to 2, then 5 to 7.
Like short term and long term. Yeah.
Yep. So, beta test 30-day. We just want to do a 30-day little case study of identical properties here. And then part of the milestone 1 remainder is the next 5 properties coming online. So we're going to do another kind of test with, 2 similar square footage, 1-story houses, but maybe one was built in 1990, one was built in 2020, so seeing the different efficiencies of what 30 or 40 years in materials and building does. And then maybe similar with the 2-story too, just trying to set up controlled experiments that we can get data and analyze it from. And that really drives into whenever we open up this beta testing to all these current Pebble owners is we have to make sure it's done in a controlled way, which, I have the ADDIC checklist in the white paper that you can see, but we have to make sure that the data is collected in a controlled way to where we know what it's telling us. Otherwise we're just getting a whole bunch of data, but without knowing the variables, we don't know where it is, what it is, who it is, how it is, and so that essentially just becomes noise that we can't do anything with. So early beta testing is going to be a lot of connection to our system, our network, figure out any kinks there. I've seen in the ecosystem just between Android users and iPhone users and desktop users and, the same in different countries with different privacy agreements with the internet and all kind of stuff. There's all different things that we're going to run into as we start connecting these devices. So we want to make sure that we're kind of doing it in a controlled manner. So, put a timestamp on it. I would love to be able to start inviting beta testing, Q1, Q2, of this coming year, once we kind of get everything set up to be able to receive all that data.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So I want to be conscious of time here, right? Because I would really like to get Discord Jeremy in here to go over some of the stuff that's happened in the last 2 weeks in Discord. So let's talk about just a couple more things. We have, looks like a couple more questions here. I just posted the link to the Halo grant. So I would encourage everyone to go check this out. As far as I know, this process, I got a little spider here dangling in front of me. As far as I know, that the process, hi, spider. Well, I told him earlier yesterday, I was like, if you don't bother me, I'm not going to kill you. So, now he's getting in my face, but
he just wants a moment of fame. I mean,
yeah, right. Camera's up here, buddy. But yeah, so go check out the Halo grant. As far as I know, you put all your milestones in here, right? I haven't clicked on your Halo grant yet. I'm looking at it now. There's a lot of information in there. So you can go check this out. You can go see a lot of stuff here, as well as, of course, the website. But it looks like there's some substantial information if you want to follow milestones and see all the stuff that we've just been talking about now. I do want to ask one last thing here. So you gave some sample use cases. Let's go into what we call the shameless plug. So if you were to action anyone watching now and or on demand later, what are the 1, 2, 3 things that you would tell the viewer to go do right now to get more involved with enviroBLOQ, learn more? What would you like to tell the viewers?
Number one, go follow us on Twitter, because one of the milestone requirements is 500 followers. So help us get there first and foremost. But really just dive into, if, we saw a couple questions here. What do you mean rewards for your data? So if you're listening and or watching and you haven't yet kind of gone down this path of what your data can be used for and the data and the value that your data is bringing to companies using it every day already, I would definitely encourage you to go look up Web3, go look up what Web3 is, because it truly is going to change how data is utilized and how people are monetized for their data. So Twitter, research Web3, and then just start looking into, looking around you, start being aware of efficiencies and inefficiencies around you. I'm such a nerd with efficiency that, if I'm running the faucet while I'm brushing my teeth, I'm like, I'm wasting water, just stuff like that kind of get you thinking about possible areas of improvement around you. And that's kind of where we want people to be thinking.
Very nice. What about you, Chuck? Oh, sorry, Giuseppe.
No, I just wanted to add also that on top of that, just check out IoTeX. And if you are a developer and you have an idea, just like Chuck and Will did, apply for the Halo grants, because we're happy to help out people with cool ideas and that want to take advantage of MachineFi, and I want,
if I can touch on that, because I've had a couple of people reach out to me privately, like, hey, I have an idea for MachineFi or Halo grant, but I'm not a developer, or I don't know. And Chuck and I, we don't know how to write apps either, right? But so my encouragement to them was get it out there, get it down on paper, get it submitted, because you might have a brilliant idea that someone's willing to help you run with.
Yeah, you might even find developers that you can
exactly.
meet and work together with. That's the
it's
whole
a tight-knit
point of having
community.
a community. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Chuck, what about you? Any last words here that you'd like to cover? Now, just to let you know, you are all welcome to hang around when Jeremy comes on as well. Maybe cool. He says something you want to talk about or learn something from him. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty good. William covers it pretty well. And so, get a look, get ready. We're, it's pretty exciting. And just thinking about, I say with getting with IoTeX, thinking about researching with them, like you said, but hang in there. We'll be ready for that beta test soon. I'll be pushing William a little bit.
Awesome. All right, cool. This is exciting. We were talking in the green room a little bit, but I also went for the Halo grant, right? With my company. I hope to bring it onto the show sometime in the future. But I think that the stuff I can resonate with the stuff you all are going through. And so it's exciting, it's stressful, it's just all around just exciting. So very exciting. Very cool stuff. So is it okay if we bring on Jeremi to go over
Please.
some Discord questions? Of course, the topic is still enviroBLOQ, so it's possible that something comes up here. Maybe you learn something.
I'm not leaving.
Awesome. All right, cool. Discord Jeremi, because I can't say his last name. I asked him if he would let me just call him Discord Jeremi.
Hello.
Jeremi,
Yeah.
How you
Everything's
doing,
good. My name is Jeremi Rękiewicz. Rękiewicz. It's a hard name. It's a Polish surname, so don't worry about it. Discord Jeremi is fine.
It's not that difficult.
Rękiewicz.
Yeah, Rękiewicz. Yeah, if you see it, you won't know what to do with it. If you try to pronounce it after me, maybe you can accomplish it.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, so this is a new segment we're going to be doing every other week, where Jeremi comes in and showcases some of the more robust or important questions that are posed in the developer Discord server. So Jeremi's accumulated a few of these, and he's going to go over them, right?
Yes. So basically, before I go into my Discord analysis, I guess I would like to just touch on the topic at hand, which we were discussing during today's meeting. So it's about the MachineFi economy and how the data collected can have value. So basically, one of the ideas is a concept for a machine economy of rewarding machines for completing a specific task in a specified time limit. So for example, if you have a production line and you have robotic arms collecting items from the production line and putting them in a box or something, or processing them somehow, you could reward that machine for spending X amount of time and doing the task optimally or suboptimally. It will get less coins. And then as it is collected by the blockchain and stored on the blockchain, this data, you can actually trust the data because it is decentralized instead of a centralized system, which we have now in such robots, and cars are the best example, where a car, for example, you can buy a used car, you don't know the actual amount of kilometers it has traveled because the odometer can be hacked, even on the new cyber, cyber cars, that you need a computer to connect to it, you can still hack it. But these machines, for example, if they were on a production line, if you want to resell it, you can then say on the blockchain, you can see for yourself, these are the transactions, they happened, this is how well this machine performs, and you can sell it for a profit. You could, for example, buy and sell at a profit for machines which perform better and are better. So, or better or worse, you could buy them low and sell it for a profit. So anyway, so that was just my my 2 cents on the topic of the MachineFi economy and how it has real use cases. And
you're going to put an enviroBLOQ in your house? I know you're doing renovations, Jeremi.
Yeah, we'll see. Sure, why not? I mean, I already have a Pebble tracker. I'd love to play with the new technology. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. Cool. So the floor is yours. We want to learn. You are there. You're the frontline foot soldier of Discord with all the developers. We want to learn what you've been teaching people these last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So basically, one tip. I'm going to just more or less give some tips on how to use IoTeX based on some of the questions that I've seen people ask in Discord. One of them is, for example, the staking mechanism. So people often, when they come into the IoTeX ecosystem, they found out about the native staking, and they get interested. They install the IOPay wallet, and they want to make their stake. So one of a rookie mistake is to put all your tokens into the stake, and you might get an error because you don't leave any IoTeX for the gas fee. So when you create your first stake, just leave 1 to 10 IoTeX in your wallet, just to make sure you have some for the gas fee and for future transactions.
Also, we've talked about this in other calls with Simone. This is also obviously subjective, but it's important to support multiple projects. Don't throw all your eggs in one basket. If you have a bunch of IoTeX, they offer different types of awards, but of course, everyone's building cool stuff. And so if you go explore all these delegates, split your IoTeX up a little bit subjectively. Of course, I'm not telling you to do this. This is just my opinion. But support multiple projects. It helps everyone out.
Yes, and on that topic as well, I've been told by Simone that the recommendation is to stake, as you said, with multiple buckets, multiple delegates, and varying timeframes. That's the optimal solution, I guess. Over 91 days, obviously, is better because of the burn drop, but you can set it whatever you like. So the next tip that I had was the archival states of the blockchain. So basically, not sure if you're aware, but some blockchains offer a concept called an archival node. So this node is a node that stores all the data of all transactions that ever occurred on it, and it includes all the state changes of smart contracts. On IoTeX, for example, this currently doesn't exist. So there was a question on Discord about a person willing to build a dApp or eager to build a dApp, and he wanted to, or she, I'm not really sure, wanted to find out how to best monitor the state changes or the state relations between the smart contracts. And it saddens me at the moment there is no native ready-made solution on the IoTeX blockchain. Obviously, you could create your own monitor node or server, which is just a basic get algorithm which monitors your smart contract every 5 seconds, every block, just to record the state change, and you can use your own data. But for the patient people, there is good news that we are actually working on the archival node within the IoTeX developer community. That the IoTeX devs are working on it. So hopefully it will be soon released. Hopefully by the end of this year, but I wouldn't be that optimistic. I'm betting more early next year.
Yeah, you got to always factor in that 20-30% engineering margin of error.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and the last tip I wanted to touch upon, by the way, I just wanted to say there was a question in the chat about the Meta Pebble being honored. I actually had a discussion about this not too long ago with a IoTeX team member, and they said that the idea is to ship a ready product, which is the WebStream node, together with the Meta Pebble. Since then, the NFT will actually unlock something. It will be a use case. It will be a useful product, a tool to have. Since at the moment, if the mint list was opened, you would simply just have an NFT, another NFT in your wallet, which doesn't yet do anything. So the idea is to make it a utility NFT. So that's the plan.
You can't win them all. It's like, we want this NFT dropped. Okay, now you have the NFT. What does this NFT do?
Yeah,
so it's exactly. Like at some point you're going to get flack from everyone.
Yeah. But so the idea is to build the product and deploy it with the NFT. The last tip I wanted to share, it was regarding the IOPay private key derivation. This is a very complicated topic, and we don't have time for this discussion in detail. However, sometimes people ask me on Discord or in different support channels, how is it possible that if I have my IOPay wallet, if I import my private key into a MetaMask, why does the address change? Why do I see a different address? Well, this is because the IoTeX blockchain has its own format method, its own representation format for the addresses. It is still, the private key is using a different algorithm, I guess, as different set of. There's a different process to generate the address. However, the private key is the same. So to confirm this, what you could do is you could take you could open IOPay, for example, and you could go to the recipient address of your wallet, and you could click the Web3 tab, and there you will see the same address, or you should see the same address, unless you did something wrong, as you do in MetaMask after importing your IOPay private key. And there's also a whole different discussion about the private key derivation and the seed phrase generation and the BIP39. Hopefully, maybe next time we will have some more time. I can maybe present my screen to you, and I will explain in detail how this process works, so we can have it on record, so that people can see it in the future and learn from it.
I would like that, Jeremy. In fact, we might want to come up with our own little video series for all of the cool Discord stuff that you come up with, where we can actually showcase things independently. Great. So that covers it all, Jeremy?
Yes. I believe that's all for today.
Excellent. All right. So just to summarize, we had a great discussion with Will and Chuck from enviroBLOQ. I'll give you guys one last opportunity to say anything, but before before I give the closing statements here, because I'm going to close out the episode here.
Yeah, no, just thanks for having us. Obviously, very thankful to be on here. And Robert, as you touched on, get involved in the entire ecosystem. You know, that was how I did from the very beginning before enviroBLOQ. It was just like, I loved IoTeX. I loved everything that, everything it was driving toward. And so I wanted to get involved with as many projects in the ecosystem as possible. And there's a lot of great people doing a lot of cool things here. So
awesome. Thank you. And Chuck?
Hey, I just want to say hello to Jeremy. And my thing is, I always took the shotgun approach to stuff. And so I would post a question in multiple chats in Discord. No, Jeremy, I appreciate it. Was cool meeting him. And he's like, you don't need to do that. Jeremy's in all of them, so you don't have to post it in multiple places. He's going to get you.
It's against our rules.
Yep.
Yes.
No, you're a good steward of keeping that straight, Jeremy. I really appreciate it, though. Enjoyed working with you.
Thank you very much. And just a comment on that. When I'm on Discord, I usually don't accept new friend requests unless I know you personally. So please don't take offense if I ignore your friend request. Okay, sorry for that.
Well, maybe I'll get through now. Now that
maybe
Are
now,
you friends
yes.
yet?
Yes.
You have no excuse now. So.
Now I don't have any excuse.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
Thank you very much,
Giuseppe, any last things you want to say? I'm going to close this out.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to obviously thank Robert for making co-hosting with you so smooth, and thank you guys, Will and Chuck, for following up on this. And I thought it was really cool to have you on the show. And thanks, Jeremy, for the hour before this and this hour, and just for the good times.
Awesome.
No
All right, here it is. So thank you, everyone. I'm gonna make myself big here. You all are wonderful people. Thank you so much. Let me do it. Actually, I'll just keep it like this. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate all of your time. Obviously, you could have spent this hour anywhere else. Chuck, Will, thank you so much for your time. We know it's very valuable. Thank you for sharing all this cool stuff around enviroBLOQ. Please keep in mind that if you do, any developments or future releases or whatever, if something cool is happening, come back on the show. We'd love to have you back. If you enjoyed the video, obviously smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, IoTeX, official IoTeX YouTube channel on YouTube. And we will be here next 2 weeks from now. Of course, if you have any questions that didn't get answered in the chat, just go to our Discord channel and we'll try to get those addressed. Chuck and I believe Will are both in that Discord channel. And of course, Jeremy here to answer everything. All right, we're closing this out. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.